to the newest episode of the Honey Pot Podcast. I'm your host, Carmen Hendricks, and I took the lid off the pot today again for another very special guest, Miss Melia Neal. Before we get started, I want to make sure all of our listeners remember to subscribe to our podcast so that you will receive notifications for all things Honey Pot. We're available on iTunes, SoundCloud, and YouTube. Search for Honey Pot Podcast. Now let me go ahead and introduce today's guest. Melia was born and raised in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. A wife and mother of 3 beautiful children, she relocated to Missouri 7 years ago. Melia enjoys being involved in the community, and she is a part of a nonprofit organization called Authentic Voices, a group of individuals playing an active role in the community to empower individuals to create solutions. Melia started writing poems and short stories in high school for a hobby. She has written plays and movie scripts and decided to move into a new area of writing last year when she released her first children's picture book called Jory the Terror in November of 2017. Through her children's books, she hopes to inspire her readers. Welcome to the Honey Pot, Melia.
Thank you for having me.
Now, you've written plays and movie scripts. Tell us about that.
Well, I've written a movie called Complete Me, which is on one of my Facebook pages. You can kind of see it was just about romance type of story. Also written plays. My brother Joseph Lyons, he was one of the on a TV show Empire. He had a little scene on there where he did some robbing when they was in like the the music theater, studio. And he had a little part, he had on the gray, he was up in there. So he inspired me a lot into actually bringing out my writing. And he just told me, because he knew that I always loved to write, but I never wanted to do anything with it. So he just kind of encouraged me, and he put on Completely Me for me. With his company called Into the Lion's Den.
Awesome. So. That is some great news. It's very nice to be able to say, hey, I have somebody that's been in something that's so popular that's supporting.
Right.
So Jory the Terror was written in honor of your nephew. Tell us about that and what this book means to you.
The book is close to me. It's because it is my first children's story that I actually did something with. But my nephew, he was an inspiration to it, not along with me working. I used to be a director at my early childhood program. And we used to always work with children who think that they act a certain way, that people would, want to, deal with them and play with them. Other kids want to play with them because when they act a certain way at home, then that's how they got the attention. So it's basically just to bring enlightenment that, even though children might have a vast approach, it's up to the adults to help us change their direction and thinking.
Your book focuses on the importance of children finding themselves. Tell us how you came up with this concept.
For my nephew Jory, he used to always, like, when he was littler, you would see, like, when it come time to play, like, him and my grandmother was, like, really close. And I remember one day when he came down to visit, and he used to, like, me being close to my grandmother and things like that, like, in order to grab attention, he felt like it was too much going on. So he would just act like, do everything out of the ordinary, and he was getting ready to start school. It was going to be his first year of school. And so I was telling my sister, like, I bet you when Jory go to school, he's going to do all these things, for attention. And so I was like, you know what, I'm going to write a book about him, how Jory's going to act on his first day of school as a joke. And then it turned into a book, but I wanted to provide a message in the book as well.
Those are the best books. Those books that are
come from real life. And then my sister just laughed about it. She was like, I think that book is gonna be cute. And then once I had finished it, and she was like, oh my goodness, this is so Jory. And we just kind of laughed about it. But yeah,
I love
it. And today is his birthday, so I'm just happy it's his birthday. He's seen him on Snapchat, and she just video recorded him opening his gifts because they live in Wisconsin, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and I live here in Cape Girardeau. So.
Okay. So you're writing a book series. Tell us about your book series.
The book series I'm writing about is about children with different behavior problems, like different behaviors, like and like issues that children face on a regular. Like the next book that's coming out is called Aaliyah and Her Sidekick King, which is a book dedicated to my daughter, but also to other little girls who are into sports. But, you know, people think because there are girls that, you know, they're not allowed to play sports. So it's going to be like a nonfiction book. And she's going to have a sidekick, King, which is a dog, and he's going to be like a super dog for her, that helps her, you know, be able to play with boys. I think it's going to be a cute little story. And that's going to be coming out this year. And then I'm also working on a series of books of dealing with just different issues that children face on a regular. So I have different stories that's going to be played out over the next few years.
Awesome. I love the fact that you have a plan. A lot of people don't have a plan, but you have a plan. Do you ever think about doing a rapid release for your books, or are you just going to stick with releasing one every so often?
I think I'm just going to do one a year, you know, just to kind of, because like I don't want to my biggest thing is rushing and doing it. Because I don't want just anything to come out, you know. I want to take my time. I want it to be professional. I think that every book that I do, I want to be able to, you know, advance in the craft, you know. So I want to learn something from that first book, you know. Like even since I have out Jory, I want to learn what mistakes I had, you know, in the past and learn from that for the next book. So each book I want to learn something different as I go on to the next one. So I don't want to rush and do anything. Like I know, like they were saying, like a lot of people, you know, might bring out like 5 books a year. Well, what's the quality of those books, you know? Like I don't want to do that. You know, I want my books to be quality. I don't want quantity, you know. So quantity will come in time. I just want them to be quality.
That's right. You have a degree in early childhood development and psychology. How has this helped?
Mm-hmm.
How has it helped you when you're writing your books?
It helped me look at different issues when, you know, from the types of behaviors when dealing with children of that age group of my nephew. I'm actually majoring in right now behavior analysis. So that's going to help me with releasing a series of books also. So that, which working with different issues that children face, you know, by working in an early childhood profession, I've learned that children, you know, we have a lot of children now dealing with like ADHD and things like that. So I want to be able to relate to parents and readers and those types in my series as well. So I'm studying about it. I'm studying it. So when I do bring it out, you know, I want people to be able to relate to it, you know.
Mm-hmm. So. I want to go back to your roots, your writing plays, and just kind of talk about something else that's going on in the news right now. I know that you've heard about the disparity in the pay, or the discrepancy in the pay between Mark Wahlberg and Michelle Williams. They were reshooting the movie All the Money in the World because they decided to take the actor Kevin Spacey out due to the Me Too movement. And while reshooting, there were some negotiations that were done. Mark Wahlberg ended up receiving $1.5 million for his role in reshooting. Michelle Williams received $800 a day. $800 total. She got $80 a day.
Oh my goodness.
It put the Twitter universe into an uproar. Social media was boiling over with anger. And today, announced that he will donate his entire $1.5 million salary for his reshoot to the organization Time's Up, which was created by some Hollywood female celebrities. So he's going to donate the $1.5 million in Michelle's name to Time's Up. The talent agency that represents both Michelle and Mark are donating $500,000 in Michelle's name to the fund. Now, earlier this month, they'd already donated $1 million. So they pretty much have donated $1.5 million. Just $500,000 will be in her name. Tell me what you think about this entire situation.
I think the entire situation is sad that still in 2018, women is still fighting for rights just to be created equally, you know. I think that it's nice that the organization and Mike Wahlberg donated money, but I think that was it truly straight from the heart? You know what I'm saying? Like the organization, I think pretty much donated the money because, which was nice of them, but I think if they donate the money out of guilt, you know, because they were put, you know, in hot water. So they felt like doing it to make their company look better. Women work just as hard as men, if not harder. So why should we be underpaid for what we do, you know? So I just think like it just brought me back to, I don't know if you've seen Oprah's speech that she did on the Oscars. I mean, she said it all, you know, and I think this is the year for women. You know, I think that this is the year that women, you know, will be heard and that maybe the gender discrimination would come to an end maybe this year, even though it'll always be that way, you know, just like any other thing else, everything else. But hopefully it'll be more, people will be more alert and aware about it.
You know, we talk about it. We talk about what we can do to try to make things equal. We're fighting for equality on so many different playing fields, so many levels. We're fighting for equality as women. We're fighting for equality as Black women. We're fighting for equality as Blacks. We're fighting for equality for our lives, you know, with the Black Lives Matter movement. There are so many things that we have to fight for that sometimes I'm just tired of having to fight. I want to be recognized for who I am, what I've done, what I'm accomplishing, and what I'm contributing to society. You yourself, you are involved in community activism. You are a part of Authentic Voices. That's like what I want to be known for. That's what I'm sure you want to be known for. So it's really disheartening that we have to fight for so much just as women. We have to fight.
Right.
Now, speaking of Authentic Voices, tell us about that. Tell us about this organization that has had the opportunity to be blessed with you and your time.
I think it's a great organization. It is, so far it's just all women, but we're hoping to this year that we will get some men involved and things like that. But we have a lot of things going on this year that I'm actually excited about. In August, we're going to be having a multicultural festival, which is something that the Cape Girardeau area never had before. And we're going to bring the community together in the different cultures to come together and enjoy each other. So, and what we do is we just find different things that's going on in the community, and we find solutions, help people find solutions to correct those things that's going on in the community. So we're like their voice. So.
Now, since you're active in the community, there's another thing that I wanted to talk about, and that is the flu complications that are in the news right now. There was a young man who was 21 that just recently passed away because of flu complications, and it's scary because this strain of the flu has taken a life of its own, and it's really affecting the community and killing people. Tell me what you think about that, and what do you think we can do to combat it and prevent it?
Actually, I was surprised by everything that's going on with the flu this year. I just realized how bad it was. Actually, last night when I was watching the news, and they was talking about how in a few states it was up by 5 times the amount from last year around this time. And I think that it's scary. It's affecting more children now. And we knew in the past, like, normally, older people it's affected by, but now it's affecting a lot of children and things now. I just think that it's scary, and I don't know what exactly we can do about it, because everybody's been getting it. I know, like last week, pretty much everybody in our office pretty much was sick from it. So it's just scary. I don't know exactly, like, is there a real solution? Like, is there a real solution for it? Like,
I don't know. Diseases,
they say, like, get vaccinated, but it takes 2 weeks before the vaccination is actually effective. And then, if I'm not mistaken, then they say before that the vaccination is basically the vaccination they give out the year is the one that was supposed to be treated for the one for the year before. Something like that. I think I remember them saying.
Well, I honestly, and this may just be something that I shouldn't do, but I honestly do not do the flu vaccinations. I don't believe in them. And the reason why is not because I'm just this health nut, but my grandfather went and got a flu shot and ended up in the hospital, and he never came out. And that frightened me. And I just don't want to put myself in a situation, because I will get sick. And if I get sick, it takes me down. I have a friend, and this is embarrassing, but I'll say it anyway. I have a friend who calls me SARS, because every time he saw me, I was sick. He was like, what is wrong with you? You're always sick. And as I've gotten older, I've gotten to a point where, I really do try to make sure that my immune system is as high as possible. I do emergency. I take the emergency packets, drink a lot of water. I eat a lot of fruits and vegetables. I try to eat really healthy anyway. I try not to eat bad, but part of it is because, I want to make sure that my immune system is strong. So I won't take those flu shots. I just refuse.
Right. I heard a lot of people say that, though, like when they get the flu, like when they get the shot, they end up getting sick from the shot.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I've heard plenty of people say that before. But it could have to do more with just eating healthier and things like that. I think it's the stuff they put in our food. They just trying to kill us slowly.
You know what? I can't argue with you, because genetically modified food scares me. I don't like genetically modified.
And it's, it's sad, because that's the cheapest food you can get, because anything else that's organic or anything like that, that's the food you got to pay 2 times the price for. They know that people can't afford it, so it's just scary, and then the FDA approves everything. Like, why y'all approving, then come back years later and say, hey, if you was eating this,
yeah,
this was bad and that was bad for you, and this is where you might get cancer. I think the scariest thing is when they have stuff on TV, little commercials, and they say, hey, take this will help you lose weight, or this will help you with acne. Then the benefits, the side effects is kidney failure, lungs collapsing. It's like, come on, like, why are you making the situation worse? I might as well just keep the fat in the acne,
Yeah, I 100% agree with you on that one. I laugh when they start saying all of the side effects. Like, the side effects are worse than the thing you're trying to treat. Like, really?
Right.
I'm not taking it if it's gonna make me have
And how
suicidal
did the
thoughts.
FDA even approve that?
Look, I'm telling you, I won't even eat. Like, I'm really nervous about eat. I love corn, but I'm really nervous about eating corn because corn is genetically modified. And I remember when my grandmother, used to have she had a garden, and we used to get food out of the garden. We used to pick peas and all kind of stuff. And I want to go back to that because at least I kind of
Right.
know where it's coming from. You know what I'm saying?
Where it's coming from, right?
Yeah.
But even the stuff that they put on, because like now they put all of that stuff like on the gardens, to say that they keep the insects away and keep the mouses away, and all of that's poison too that you got growing. So that's in the food. So that's still, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's scary out here.
So let me ask you this: as a children's author, evolving into a writer. I'm sorry. As you evolve into a children's author, what does success look like to you? What does literary success look like to you?
To me, I think it'd be just if I can, if a reader, if the reader and the listener can learn something from my story, I think that's success to me. I don't have to be big or well known. I just want, if I'm walking by somewhere and somebody just, remember my story, remember something that they learned from my story, I think that's success in itself.
Okay. We reached the segment in the show where I ask what's in the honey pot. And what that means is I ask you what's in your music playlist, because I know that music can really be impactful whenever you're writing or whatever. It works for me when I'm writing. So what's in your music playlist?
See, I am very diverse. I like to listen to a lot of different things. Heather Hadley is in my playlist. Escape, Mary J. Blige, Kelly Price, James Bay, and Ex-Ambassador, and Ed Sheeran is in my pot list.
Okay. I've never heard of James Bay, so I'm going to have to look him up.
You never heard of James Bay?
Mm-mm. And if I have, I probably have heard the song and just didn't know it was hit, didn't know his name.
My favorite songs by him is Let It Go, Hold Back the River, and Need the Sun to Break.
Well, I'm gonna have to check it out. Well,
yeah. So I love me some James Bay. I even got my husband addicted, and he loves rap, and I don't like rap. So we kind of, if I'm listening to it, he will accept it. Now he always say, "Hey, can you play that song for me by James Bay?" Or I'm like, "Yes, I knew you would come over and like my music."
That's cool. I have to look at that and see and listen to him. That's why I like to do this, because it helps me expand my horizons as well. Do you have any last words?
I just want to thank you for this opportunity. For letting me be. It's an honor to be on your podcast. And I wish you best of luck on everything.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes. Thank you so much.
How can people find you?
You can find me on, I'm just now getting really into the social media, but I do have an author's page called Author Melia Neal. I did have a Snapchat. My daughter then took over my Snapchat, and I really don't even know how to use Snapchat. But normally, really on Facebook, on my Author Melia Neal page. Jory the Terror can be bought on Amazon or Barnes and Noble at this time, in iTunes.
Okay. All righty. So what I like to do, I always like to end the show with a Carmenism. And my Carmenism for today. The children are the future. What are you sowing into them to help them grow into adults who will contribute to the world? Think about your thoughts that become words, your words that become plans, and your plans that become actions. Are your actions in line with what you want your children to see? If not, change your thoughts, words, and come up with a new plan.
I like that.
Thank you. So I want to take the time to thank you so much for coming onto the show. I'm very happy to have you. I know you promised to come back, so we will be able to see you as well. I want to thank the audience for taking the time to listen to the Honey Pot Podcast. I'm your host, Carmen Hendricks. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast and like us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram using the handle at Honey Pot Podcast. You can also find me at carmenhendricks.com. That does it for today's podcast. I'm putting the lid back on the pot. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.